Welcome to The Bright Side, the show where we shed light on people, places, and stories that make Michigan great. In this episode, we will explore housing throughout the state, from apartments for people living with disabilities to workshops for new home buyers. I'm Scott Woosley, Executive Director of the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or as it is better known, MSHDA. MSHDA's mission is to create and preserve affordable housing for low and moderate income residents throughout the state. We accomplish this mission by providing below market rate financing for single family and multifamily owners and developers. Come with me today as I show you some very successful housing projects throughout the state.
Even before we actually saw the house, we were pretty excited about it, just based on the pictures.
I purchased this home in 2010 from Grandmont Rosedale Development Corporation, which is a nonprofit in the neighborhood. And they buy homes that get foreclosed, and then they renovate them, and they put them back on the market to try to draw new families into the neighborhood.
Yeah, this is our latest project, and another foreclosed property. We had to rebuild this porch. This was quite a wreck. This house had a lot of water damage. The floors were all buckled. You can see they put a whole new floor in the kitchen and nook area. This house was in worse shape than most of the ones we buy. But when the time we're done, you know, it's going to look good as new. We tackle all kinds of problems. No house is too difficult for us to try.
We are in my home in North Rosedale Park in the city of Detroit. Amazingly, it was pretty much everything we could have been looking for in a home. The kitchen was the only piece where we were kind of like, if we could change it, we would. So we did. There was a wall here, cabinets that were kind of stretched around all the way to the wall.
These are the original cabinets here.
Yeah.
No, we don't always put in a new kitchen. They remodeled their kitchen. They've invested a lot more in the house since they bought it from us. We have a lot of variety of homes in our community, and GRDC has done all shapes, sizes, prices. This is one of the more unique homes, and we've really enjoyed doing this project. You can see it's got windows on 3 sides and natural fireplace and hardwood floors. We have a buyer lined up, and probably before the end of the month, we're going to have a new family moving in to this house. Part of making a home affordable is cutting down on the repairs and things that a homeowner is going to have to do once they move in.
This is our kitchen, and when we bought the house, one of the appealing things was that Grandmont Rosedale Development Corporation had redone our kitchen, so it's pretty much brand new. We didn't have to worry about anything in the kitchen. They redid the floors, they put in new cabinetry, a dishwasher, and a microwave. Yeah.
This used to be 2 rooms, and it was a very small dining room with a very small kitchen. So they took down the wall and made it one big room, and they put in this island, and all our counters, a brand new dishwasher.
You know, even within Detroit, a lot of people are thinking there's no interest in moving here or buying here, but we really are seeing for the homes in our community that there is a strong demand if you can provide a really high quality home for people. And we know we already have a high quality neighborhood, so.
The first day we bought the house, we get a knock on the door, and my wife and I look at each other like, it's not even where we live yet. And I opened it up, and it was our neighbors from across the street, and they had brought us flowers, handpicked from their garden.
When we moved in here, our next door neighbors to the south of us, they actually wrote us a letter and put it in our mailbox, and that was pretty awesome. You know, they wrote about the neighborhood and how long they've been here and how much they're looking forward to being our neighbors.
One of our contractor friends found like this sack. He was reaching inside of the heat register, and the bag had various effects from the previous owner, who apparently was in the military, served in World War II, had love letters from past, I guess, acquaintances, and even had his discharge letter from the military and things of that nature.
Homes in our community are all unique, and that's one of the things that people really like about Grandmont Rosedale.
Next, we will visit Palmer Point Townhomes in Pontiac, a new affordable housing development with 24 units. 9 of these units are supportive housing units for people with disabilities.
I wasn't always homeless, but I went to the doctor one day. I couldn't walk at work for some reason, and come to find out that I had a heart problem, then type 2 diabetes, and make a long story short, I got behind on my rent, and my wife was working as much as she could. During that whole time, CHN had embraced me. When I would call there, I dealt and first spoke with a lady named Michelle Goodenough. She said, well, listen, we have a project called Palmer Point. You might be interested in it. Now I have my own home. I'm a resident of Palmer Point Townhomes. It still seems like a dream for me and my family, my wife, my 2 sons.
We just moved in about like a week. Been here about a week.
It's great. Oh my gosh. My mom, my dad came out, and his mom and dad came out, and they love it. I love it. It's like a blessing for real. Every day I wake up and I be like, thank you. Right, Sanaya? Say yeah.
And we can't believe we made it in here.
When I started at Community Housing Network 11 years ago, I was taking calls in the Housing Resource Center, and I was thinking to myself, we've got to find a way to create more housing for folks, because there wasn't enough people would call, and I just didn't have resources to give them. I mean, there was such a limited amount. We've always specialized in providing housing for people with disabilities and people who are homeless. And so we've created a lot of scattered site housing throughout the years, but we've never been able to actually do a whole community like we have here. This is our kitchen. The kitchen's in the townhomes, which are wonderful. Nice cherry wood for a full-size kitchen, which we're excited about. All Energy Star appliances. We have our tankless water heaters, Energy Star furnaces. This is a 2-bedroom unit, and all of the 2 bedrooms, they have 2 full baths upstairs, and then we have a half bath downstairs. And the accessible units, the 3-bedroom accessible units, one of the bedrooms is on the 1st floor, and so it is fully accessible with a Roland bathtub and shower. And we're going to have some fencing still needs to go in. We're going to have some wrought iron fencing come up in the front. There's going to be a nice sign. And then we also have some vinyl fencing that's going to be installed on the back of the property on the back side over there, just to kind of like delineate that this is Palmer Point Townhomes.
So when I wake up, I kind of forget that I'm still in this beautiful home, and I go outside and I look in the inside of that same window that I used to look in, hoping that that place would be mine, realizing that I'm now living in it.
We already feel it. It's amazing, like waking up to them every day. Like I would have to work, get up early, so I never got to see them. But now I feel like we're really a family.
So now I'm at the top of the mountain, and it's because of great people that was at CHN, Palmer Point, and any other organization that helped get Palmer Point off the ground. Thank you for giving me and my family a place to call home.
There are many resources in Michigan for home buyers or current homeowners. The Center for Financial Health presents a homebuyer education program in the next video.
The Center for Financial Health is a HUD and MSHDA-approved housing counseling agency delivering a wide variety of housing and financial counseling and education services to home buyers, homeowners, and renters. So today you're going to experience our live class. It's a homebuyer educational workshop. This is a class that is often required for many of the affordable financing programs that are available, not only in the Lansing community, but across the country. And through that workshop, we go over and sort of walk consumers through the home buying process, from ensuring that they're mortgage ready and credit ready and emotionally ready to take on that responsibility of home ownership, to helping them build the right home buying team from a realtor and a loan officer, inspector, appraiser, etc.
I talk about your scores go down every time you apply for a credit card. The reason why your scores go down.
We talk a lot about credit, so if they're not quite credit ready in order to get a mortgage, then we talk about the services we offer as far as pre-purchase counseling. The client came up to me right before class, the student, and she said, you know, I have my master's in finance and I really don't feel that I need this class. Can I just get my certificate? And I said, well, is this required by your lender? Yes. And I said, well, then we can't waive it. You're going to have to take the class. And at the end of the class, she pulled me over to the side and said, Maria, I just want to let you know that at the beginning of the class, I thought I knew everything about buying a home because I did have my master's in financing, and now I realize I knew nothing. And I'm so glad that I took this class.
By attending a home buyer workshop and enrolling in our home ownership club, consumers are entitled to a free one-on-one housing counseling session. So they come in and we look at all different aspects. They understand what their down payment assistance, what they would qualify for based on household size, and how much income is brought in. If they don't have a lender, I give them at least 3 lenders to choose from. And then if they don't have a realtor, I give them at least 3 realtors to choose from, ones that know the products that I know they're going to go out and get. And then I also build what's called a recommended action plan, so they know what they have to do in order to get into that home that they want to be in. For homeowners, we do offer several different strategies that help them keep their home and maintain their home. And probably our most busy service these days is helping people stay in their home with foreclosure prevention methods and opportunities. So homeowners who are facing foreclosure are being bombarded by notices not only from their lenders, but oftentimes from companies and sometimes scam artists who are trying to take advantage of them at an unfortunate time. We like to give folks advice. If you're facing foreclosure, the #1 thing is communicate with your lender. #2, seek help from a housing counselor that most likely is going to offer their services for free.
Some organizations in Michigan help new home buyers. Others help existing homeowners repair their homes. At Home Repair Services in Grand Rapids, homeowners can take classes or can find materials for their homes.
A woman named Christy in Wyoming about a year ago came to us with a manila folder, and in that folder she had been collecting for years pictures from magazines of kitchens. And she had one particular image in mind, and she says, this is the kitchen that I want to have in my house. Can we do this? This organization spends more than half of its budget on taking care of emergency situations for lower income homeowners. So, you know, we'll send plumbers into homes, we'll send carpenters into homes, we'll send mechanical contractors to work on furnaces into homes. We'll also have professional counselors who can deal with foreclosure problems and mortgage issues. And we're very interested, in addition to helping people with their roof problems and their furnace problems and their mortgage problems, to be able to help those who would like to do something themselves to significantly improve the livability of their home and their equity. What happens right here is our classroom. On Saturdays, we teach a series that we call Rookie Renovators. And this series focuses primarily on the skills that you would need to have to do a significant do-it-yourself project in your own home. So we're teaching basic plumbing, basic electrical, cabinet installation, drywall, floor coverings, maybe ceramic tile. And we repeat that series every 6 weeks. Today we're teaching a plumbing class.
So sometimes someone's remodeled and they've got a pipe and you see a pipe down there, it's like this. That's a problem. Chances are you're going to have a clog in that pipe. So you kind of inspect to see that everything is falling 1/4 inch per foot, all heading toward the drain. And this first valve is what you shut off. That shuts off the water. This one here shuts the water off the house too. So either one. Sometimes you only have one. There you go. That's it. And release it. So you just had your first successful PEX connection.
what also happens here, right behind me, is our kitchen showroom. This particular style of cabinets is one that we buy from a local wholesaler. We can sell to a lower income homeowner for $858. On the other hand, over here are cabinets that we've actually built in our own wood shop right here with volunteers. There's a third option, and these are cabinets that are given to us that are used. All of these cabinets were taken out of the Herkimer Hotel as part of their renovation project. They were given to us by the dwelling place. We'll be able to clean these up and put them out in our showroom and make them available again to lower income homeowners who are ready to do their own kitchens. And for a typical set of 12 cabinets, these will probably go for $250. But our mission is not to try to sell product. We're not a retail store. Our mission is to encourage and equip and stimulate do-it-yourself home improvement. And Christy, we were able to supply her with cabinets that we had built here in our own wood shop. Christy, with the help of one of our coaches, completely tore that kitchen apart, put it back together, and when it was all over, took out the picture that she had cut out from the magazine years before, and we'd hold it up next to the real kitchen, and I need to tell you, they looked a lot alike.
Next, we'll tour a retrofit co-housing community in Lansing, where co-housing members are using existing homes to create an intentional community with a shared community house, community garden, weekly potluck, and other activities.
These were the first 4 homes that started our community, and we had a whole consensus decision-making process around designing the space, what we wanted. We wanted sitting areas and kids area and garden space and flower space, and so we just sat down together and we did that process.
We all own our own homes. The only thing that's a little bit unusual is that there's one house that we're purchasing jointly, which is our common house. And that's a shared house and shared space. So we share our outside space and we share a lot of resources, but the properties themselves are owned individually.
There's about 10 or so families in co-housing right now. We are on the end of this dead-end street, so I'm going to take you up to our community garden, which is up here. The places that we work on together is this common garden area here, and then sometimes that corner garden. Other houses that have their own yard space, and they take care of their own yard. These houses are special in the fact that they share this common area here. We actually have a condo agreement to share the space.
Traditional co-housing involves a group of people getting together where they look for a piece of property, they purchase it jointly, they meet for a long time to decide how they're going to design the space, where they're going to put the residences, where the green space, where's the parking. But what we've done is we're buying existing homes in a densely built downtown, and we're part of the fabric of an existing community, and we're not separate at all.
This was a Mishta house. It actually still is a Mishta house, so we're trying to provide low-income housing. So we bought this from the Greater Lansing Housing Coalition that had fixed it up, and they had approached us because they knew that we were trying to make improvements in the neighborhood, and we were fortunate enough to be able to figure out a way to purchase these 2 duplexes from them. So this is the one, and we have a co-houser who lives in here. So we have different committees that do different things. So we have a garden committee that plans garden work parties, and then we have a committee that helps organize like our buildings and grounds, and then upkeep of our common house. Everybody pays into the common house every month. And to co-own, so we have a working LLC agreement, a limited liability corporation agreement. We just got chickens last summer, and there's a couple families. What we're doing is we're taking turns with a couple different families. That way, if we're out of town, the other family can take care of it, and the week you take care of the chickens is the week that you take the eggs. And this is the artwork that we've been storing for, probably almost 5 years now. So we just got a grant to move this art over to a community garden so that people can enjoy it again.
I think of it the way my dad described living in a small town when he grew up, where everybody knew each other, doors were unlocked, You know exactly how much you can trust the people around you and what you can ask them to do. And we're in a community like that. You can develop that kind of thing in a neighborhood in a big city, sure. You know, you buy a house or something and move in, but it takes a long time to get to know folks, you know. When you move into the co-housing, you start off with a core of, 25, 30 people in your immediate neighborhood that you know. You've got that sense of community right away.
In the next video, we visit the Upper Peninsula, where we'll see a completely handicap accessible apartment building.
1 year ago today, we let butterflies go in hopes that they'd bring the wish of a new facility for folks and families that have special needs in an apartment complex with total accessibility.
I get to move in tomorrow. And I really love the apartment that I got because it's handicapped accessible, and I find it very hard to live in apartments that aren't because the countertops are too tall, you see, and to wash dishes from my wheelchair, it's very hard to do. I usually wind up with a lot of water on the floor, trying to rinse them and put them up. And I've seen my new apartment and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just gonna make such a big difference for independence.
This is a 2-bedroom. We went with the pocket door because obviously you don't have the swinging door. You still want to have wheelchair access for that use. And so we went with the pocket doors on every unit. And then even the folks I had one come in that has no use of his hands. He's a quadriplegic. He's able to do it. We wanted it easy enough for him to be able to close the door. So. The 2-bedroom units are designed for residents that may have a live-in aid or a child, as long as the head of the household meets the criteria for Quincy Haven. So that's why we have the 2-bedroom units. And we do have mostly live-in aids coming in with folks. This is our bathroom. We have washers and dryers in all the units, though front loading, and the handicap shower so they can either roll in or sit in. One of the residents that we showed the apartment to for the very first time, he has a traumatic brain injury, which limits his mobility. And when he came in and seen the shower seat and the shower itself and how easy it would be for him to function in that, he lit up like a Christmas tree. So that's what makes it all worth it.
Well, I think it brings stability to folks that aren't really sure where they can live and how they can live with some of the disabilities that they have. And having toured some of the rooms, they certainly have thought of just about everything to help people do that.
These are the reflective top stoves, and they're designed for a person if you are in a wheelchair, that when you are cooking a meal or cooking in a pan, that you can see from your wheelchair where you're sitting what's in the pan and what you're cooking. You have your work area for if you're a wheelchair person in a wheelchair, you can have a work area here, and your sink is the same way. You'll be able to wheel in right underneath. All of your light switches are set to ADA code. Everything is ADA compliant.
I can't explain how grateful I am that they took the time to build something like this for people like me.
Quincy Haven Apartments has been a team effort, but without Gail's contributions and leadership, the great idea would be just that, a great idea.
This is the groundbreaking butterfly release that we did, and during that day it was pouring rain, and for the time we came out and let the butterflies out, the sun came out. So we released the butterflies into the heavens, as one would say, and all made our wishes. My wish was for Quincy Haven Apartments to become a reality, and it did.
Over the past 50 years, housing has changed dramatically in Michigan. In the next special interview, John Dooley recounts the history of housing as it relates to the civil rights movement and how it led to important housing changes in the area today.
Well, I came here in 1962 when there was problems in the city about housing for people of color, and they couldn't live in East Lansing. So they'd have to go to the black churches in Lansing and say, well, where can we find a place to live? So I joined forces with a number of people who were concerned about that issue, and we, with some faculty from the university and graduate students and campus ministers, petitioned City Council to establish a Human Relations Commission. They did that, and then we petitioned the Human Relations Commission to recommend to the City Council that they pass an open occupancy ordinance so that it will be against the law to refuse to rent or sell property to people of color. And we had a fascinating time because we had a commission of 9 people. We knew the 4 people who were going to vote in favor of recommending it to City Council. We didn't know who the 5th person was. Turned out to be the one real estate representative on the board. And he earned for himself a shunning from the real estate community for voting in favor of that recommendation of the City Council. That recommendation was made, and the City Council received it and said, "Thank you very much, that's very nice, we think that's a great idea," and they didn't do anything about it. So students got interested and began to petition and show up at City Hall when the City Council met to try and encourage them. And one night they showed up in such forces, that numbers, that the police had to evict them, and they evicted them. There were 69 of them who sat down in Abbott Road and refused to move until the City Council did something about this issue. In the interim time, one of the members of the Human Relations Commission, Robert Green, who was one of the 3 African-American professors at Michigan State University at that time. Well, I didn't know him very well. I'd been working on this open occupancy thing. But I got a phone call in October of 1964, and Bob Green said, "Reverend Dooley, this is Robert Green. I just got a call from one of my students who's down in Canton, Mississippi, wants me to come. You get the money, we'll go." We went, and all the time we were down there, he kept saying, "You know, Michigan State University ought to be doing something educational for the movement." In the course of this, he said, "Well, you're a reverend, call Martin Luther King and see if he'll come and launch this program." Well, we did that. We sold tickets at $1 a piece to students to raise money for this project. We filled up Fairchild Auditorium, and they had to open the curtain between the auditorium and Fairchild Theater to get all 4,000 kids in there. In 1965, in February, when Dr. King came to launch the STEP program. So I tell you this story because the City Council did not pass the open occupancy ordinance until he was assassinated in 1968. Shortly after that, some of the people in the community decided it was time to do something positive. So this was created for low and very low income families. Of the families that are here, many of them are single parent families. And some of them are unemployed, they don't pay any rent. Anybody else who is employed in any way pays 30% of their income for rent. We have a waiting list that won't stop. We closed down the waiting list for 4-bedroom apartments because it's 3 years you have to wait to get in. And one of our transitions we hope people will make is when they leave here, they'll transition from being renters to being owners. And last summer, 6 people left here, 5 of them owning their own homes. We're trying to honor and continue the legacy of Dr. King, which is his unfinished dream of economic justice for all.
As we've seen in today's episode, housing means more than a building to live in. It's what gives a community its character and makes a place special. To see more of what the state offers, go to michigan.gov/MSHDA. Thank you for joining me, Scott Woosley, on The Bright Side. If you'd like to find out anything more about today's show, submit new ideas for the next show, or watch this episode again, please visit brightsidetv.com.
That's what we're really trying to create, is that kind of mixed income neighborhood of choice.
Neighborhood of choice.
That's what we're placemaking, neighborhood of choice.
You hear these stories of people having like stashes of money in the home. So I was really hoping to find that, but that hasn't turned up.
MSHDA's mission is to provide, no it's not. This is the part I had memorized.
Bob Green had it all set up and he could do some television filming with Dr. King for his classes, and the person who traveled with Dr. King named Bernard said, well, he's too exhausted. He just can't do that. So just give him a cup of tea and let him rest. Well, I'm standing over there in the auditorium with 4,000 people waiting to hear Dr. King speak, and I hear he's, sleeping.